In local politics, Hikkopas Hia, the CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, has been accused of marital infidelity with a Galente prostitute by a source who wishes to remain silent until his book deal is finalized and his book signing tour is scheduled. In other news, Hikkopas Hia, the CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, continues to suffer social backlash from his alleged many prostitutes. Hikkopas Hia was accosted by a religious zealot with a filthy mouth during his press conference today. The protester was heard to shout, "How do you like your ass fucking?" To which Hia replied, and I quote, "Asked and answered," end quote. Growth in the commercial sector this week. As decorated pilot of politics, Hikkopas Hia continues to garner vitriol for whatever talking point is at hand. Said one local political expert, and I quote, "That guy would fuck a hole in a body bag," end quote. In response, there have been a growing number of protesters protesting the protesters. The Hikkopas Hia supporters call it troll testing. In today's protest, they were widely understood to be chanting, "Suck my dick from the back. Suck my dick from the back." And that is the news from Notoras. Notoras is the very mark of distinction. Reporting like this raises more questions than it answers. That's why you can't trust the mainstream media. But you can trust Notoras News, New Eden's most wholesome news source. In political news, at a recent press conference, Hikkopas Hia, CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, raised eyebrows when confronted about his seeming lack of interest in recent crises. Hikkopas Hia replied, and I quote, "I've been too busy finger-banging my own asshole," end quote. In market news, there is really no indication that anything is. Hikkopas Hia raising pulses around the system when he said, and I quote, "If you ain't never slapped hands while tag teaming some bitch, I don't believe you got no friends," end quote. Said one local resident, "I don't want him to die, but I do hope there's a lot of blood in his stool forever," end quote. Notoras News is still trying. Lai Dai Station being investigated again for reports of interspecies hedonistic activities displayed as art. Hikkopas Hia, CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, weighed in on the subject, saying, and I quote, "Look, people are going to get their donkey shows. If you make it illegal, then it won't even be regulated. Do you want your kids going to some sleazy, unregulated donkey show? I think not," end quote. In local market news, Signal 5 needlejack filaments have been made available. In local politics, a video is circulating wherein Hikkopas Hia, CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, is allegedly wearing only hip boots in a facility where livestock is housed, seemingly satisfying his baser urges. When asked directly about his connection to said video in today's press conference, Hikkopas Hia replied, and I quote, "You shut your dirty mouth. If I want any shit out of you, I'll squeeze your head. The best parts of you must have run down your mother's leg because you are a waste of skin and you're kicked out. Have her removed immediately. That one," end quote. And that is the news from Notoras, where happiness is wrecking some fools. Hikkopas Hia, the CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, has already been accused of manipulating the Jita market. When pressed on the subject at this morning's press conference, he said, and I quote, I'm rich and I'm flattered, but even I couldn't take credit for a heist like that. And I didn't fuck no animals. And fuck your mother for saying that I did." End quote. If you have inside information on the recent mineral events, please contact the Notoras News tip line or the animal stuff. And that is the news from Notoras. Candlelight vigils are being held across Notoras 3 in support of the missing mortals and their families in hope of their speedy discovery. Hikkopas Hia, CEO of Lai Dai Protection Services, released an official statement reading, and I quote, "I will personally sodomize every one of those Triglavians until their assholes are like rhinoceros assholes." End quote. It is unclear, unfortunately, if that was in reference to the missing citizens. In podcast news, the most listened to podcast in Notoras, and therefore the best podcast